All right, welcome everybody to the November 18th Board of Ed workshop. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right, and tonight we start off with our ex officio student board member reports.
Good evening, everyone. To kick off, we just kind of want to highlight all the different pathways available for students throughout the Somers Central School District. So starting in the middle school, the Middle Years program has been implemented, which is a school-wide model that involves all students and supports them during a key stage of academic and personal development. While it does not change the state or district curriculum, it shifts the approach to learning by emphasizing inquiry, global context, and meaningful connection to real-world issues. MYP encourages students to think critically, communicate effectively, and take ownership of their learning. Students engage in interdisciplinary work and build skills such as research, reflection, and collaboration through the IB approaches to learning framework. Somers' commitment to accessibility ensures that all students are supported within this model. Overall, the MYP provides a strong foundation in independent thinking and global awareness, skills that prepare students for the variety of pathways available at the high school. So moving to the high school now, there are many different pathways a student can choose to take depending on what their interests are and what they think will suit them best. So I'm going to focus on the IB diploma program because as a member, I definitely see the advantages to it. So the IB diploma program represents one of the district's most rigorous academic pathways. It's recognized by thousands of universities, and IB is valued for its depth, consistency, and emphasis on college-level skills. IB coursework prioritizes analytical thinking, sustained research, and extensive writing. Students complete internal assessments in each course, allowing them to explore topics independently and demonstrate mastery beyond a single exam. Students pursuing the full diploma engage in 3 core components that set the program apart: the extended essay, which is a 4,000-word independent research paper on a topic of choice; CAS, which stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service, which is a long-term engagement in activities that promote growth and community involvement; and a course that all IB diploma students must take at the high school is Theory of Knowledge, which is focused on critical thinking and how knowledge is understood across disciplines. Together, these elements create a cohesive academic experience that supports strong preparation for higher education. To me, what distinguishes IB is its consistency and depth. Even compared to AP courses, many of which are rigorous in their own right, the IB diploma requires sustained writing, long-term research, and continuous reflection. While taking a single IB course may be similar in challenge to an AP course, pursuing the full IB diploma extends this experience across all subjects and core components, providing a more comprehensive and cohesive academic preparation. It pushes students to manage multiple responsibilities, build academic independence, and think across subject areas. While both beneficial separately, the MYP and IB diploma program together create a thoughtful 6 through 12 grade progression centered on inquiry, skill development, and global engagement. And Jimmy will take it over with other pathways at the high school.
Great. So as Ali mentioned about the MYP and IB programs, both of which are really quite amazing. I also want to mention some of the other pathways that we offer here at Somers, specifically in the high school. One of the ones is science research, which I'm also a participant in, and that's grades 10 through 12, and it's a 3-year elective in which students can independently pursue research. And I'm sure at past board meetings we've had, our community representative from the Science Research Foundation here. But just to touch on some of the things that science research does, especially in line with sort of the portrait of a full graduate that I think Mr. Rodriguez and Ms. Kearns will touch on later tonight. Science research, in allowing students to pursue their independent research, it helps them to build a lot of important skills in learning independently and developing and launching their own inquiries. So you're not necessarily bound by a set textbook, but you can, if you're interested in something, dive deep into it. So like, for example, I'm studying Alzheimer's disease and my friend is studying nuclear fusion. So there's a vast array of pathways, and in the course you get to learn a lot of how to manage that and how to ask the right questions in your field and how to research something in your field. And I think that's something that's really important. for students in today's society and in today's world, especially going into college. I also wanted to highlight our Project Lead the Way programs and giving students the opportunity to challenge themselves academically and to pursue higher levels of inquiry and learning. One of my personal experiences was with the Project Lead the Way's The Principles of Biomedical Sciences course, which I took in 9th grade. And in the course, we learned about a lot of different important biological concepts and related to healthcare and research and other forms of science. And one of the things that stood out to me about the class was a lot of real-world applications. So we learned skills like gel electrophoresis and micropipetting. And I was even then, with all those skills I learned when I did my science research, which I was talking about earlier, I was able to actually go and apply those skills that I had learned. And I think that's something that's really important to the courses and the things we offer in school, is giving students the knowledge and the resources they need to apply in the real world and in their experiences. And the final thing I wanted to touch on tonight was the Seal of Civic Readiness, which is soon to be implemented in our schools. And I just want to say how excited I am for it, and I think it's something that's really positive for students and for the district. Civic education and readiness are really important for students nowadays because a lot of school is about learning things like reading, writing, STEM, but it's also important, and I think equally important, about giving students the knowledge and the skills to enter society as civically engaged and civically educated and knowledgeable individuals. And one of the things I can think is, before I graduate high school, myself and a lot of my peers will be of voting age and we can go and vote. So when we walk into the polls there, I think we should have those skills to be able to make informed decisions and to participate in those processes. And I think the Seal of Civic Readiness is something that really adds to that and is going to allow students to dive even deeper into civic education, civic engagement, civic readiness. And it's something that I think, as a student and speaking to my other peers, that it's very exciting to see.
And one last thing is, there are so many different pathways at the high school and throughout the district that, as a student, I can confidently say most of us recognize how how prepared we will be to go into the world, whether that's college, whether that's trade school, or entering the workforce. And I think Somers does a really good job of meeting students where they are and where they need to get. Thank you.
Right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We have community representatives tonight, but I don't think anybody was able to make it for tonight. I think they're all looking forward to next month's updates as we all start to kind of take a little bit of a break from all the craziness before the holidays. Committee chair liaison reports. I don't know if we need to save any of this or if there's a discussion you guys, I mean, we're going to talk about one policy later, but otherwise the committees haven't really met yet. So then it brings us to our board president trustee reports. So I'm just going to start off with congratulations to the football team. I know the outcome was not what they wanted, but they should be really proud of their team and the season that they had. I know the cross-country track finals were this weekend as well for states. So congratulations to those students who participated. And I know next meeting, we're actually going to be honoring the fall athletes at our December 9th meeting. So I look forward to, and I'll save more of my comments till then. Congratulations to the cast and crew of Almost Maine. I attended all 3 shows this weekend, and they were absolutely amazing. Thanks to Adam for letting us know that it's School-Related Professionals Day. I had no idea. So thank you for all of the school-related professionals for all that they do, because that's such an important role in our school districts. Last week, SMS paid tribute to Mrs. Baldez for World Kindness Day. I saw by wearing blue and filling blue hearts with memories. And if you're in SMS, you should definitely stop and see the blue hearts that are posted on the walls out here in the main hallway behind us. She's so missed and loved by all who knew her, and I know I continue to wear my blue heart in honor of Mrs. Baldez. And I just want to say it takes so little to be kind. So. Reading the Primrose Press on Friday, I learned that the Primrose community wore blue last week to promote knowledge, and I really felt that this really connects to tonight. Knowledgeable Tuskers discussed what it takes to be knowledgeable, and Mrs. Winter and Mrs. Benedetto shared that it takes hard work and a growth mindset. I was thinking about how it connects to tonight because in the various lessons, the kids discovered that there were so many different topics each was knowledgeable about, but just because they weren't knowledgeable yet on any given topic doesn't mean it will always be that way. This message resonated as we observed our students embracing challenges, supporting one another, and celebrating the process of learning itself. So fast forward to high school and our visit a few weeks ago, where we learned from the high school students, that some of whom are joining us tonight, I believe, about the multiple pathways available at the high school, just as Allie and Jimmy were mentioning. They get to choose what they want to become more knowledgeable on, what passions they want to follow, and have a true voice in their learning. And witnessing their excitement and seeing how they take ownership of their educational journey gives us so much pride for the future of our entire school community. So I look forward to our presentation this evening. Does anyone else have anything? Okay. So that will bring us to Dr. B.
Thank you. So I also want to thank Ms. Kearns, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Carroll, Ms. Anderson, Mr. Kavanaugh, Mr. Petrus, and others who are here tonight. In addition to our student voices, we'll hear a lot of great things about what's being offered at Somers High School. And also thank you to Allie and Jimmy for so eloquently speaking from firsthand experience and knowledge about all the great things that we have going on at the high school. So we appreciate everything that we'll hear about this evening and all the ways that we're going to continue to improve opportunities for students at the high school. I also want to thank and congratulate the Almost Maine performers. It was quite a show this past weekend, and I really enjoyed attending and seeing all the talent that our students have in the high school. In addition, the football game I know did not turn out the way we had wanted, and the score was not as indicative as the closeness of the game, and so it was a tough loss, but I spoke to Mr. DiMatteo. He assures me that next year they'll be winning the what is it called, the golden, it's like the golden trophy or the golden, I forget what it's called, but it's the thing you get when you win at the state level. But anyway, he's assured me that that's coming. But that said, it was a blessing, frankly, to be part of the whole athletic operation for all of our sports over the fall season, including the cross-country athletes that you mentioned. There was a great clap out that we had at the high school for Julia Duzinski, Kaya Duzinski, and Aiden C., who got to compete this past weekend. And now we're in the midst of the winter season, and we're already starting those sports, and had our coaches meeting and orientation last week. So good luck to all of our student athletes in the season that's up and coming. We today actually had a revisit from the Tri-State Consortium about our embedded honors programs in the high school, yet another opportunity for students. So thank you to Ms. Kearns, Mr. Rodriguez, and our administration and teachers who were part of leading that visit, and the update for our Tri-State friends who came to hear about where things have been since the original visit and any updates that they might suggest going forward. Tomorrow night is math night at Primrose, so definitely come out for that. Thursday evening is the middle years program parent night in this building, so you heard a little bit about that earlier, so we have a parent evening for that. As Amanda said, today was SSRP, or School Related Professionals Day. They are the unsung heroes in our school district. Nothing that any of us do would happen without the support of our clerical staff, our aides, our monitors, all of our support staff. It's truly amazing what they do each and every day to keep Somers School District up and running. So the next time you see any of our support staff, please thank them for what they do. It's truly the glue that holds everything together in our district. So next week, I want to just wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving with family and friends. We have a half-day dismissal on Wednesday, so everyone can safely travel to their respective destinations for the holidays. So I hope everyone has the opportunity to relax and rest up, and then we'll see you shortly thereafter in December. Thank you.
It's kind of crazy that it's Thanksgiving already. This almost. This brings us to our first public comment section for agenda items. Does anyone have any public comment for agenda items? Okay. Then I bring us to our central office report, where Ms. Kearns and Mr. Rodriguez.
I can project. Makes no difference, right? Sure. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. I did not talk to Allie and Jimmy beforehand, but they set us up perfectly for our conversation today. And I think talked about some of the things that I'm actually not going to talk about today. We welcomed members of the board in October, and now we have the opportunity to present to the rest of the board and also the community at large. So I welcome the opportunity to do that. And the word of the day definitely is going to be pathways. And we're going to spend some time talking about the different ways that we're able to engage students' passions here at the high school. And I really want to start by emphasizing that none of this is possible without the teams that support all of us and our students, from the board to the central office administration to my admin team. For a school that has gotten a lot smaller in the last few years, I think you're going to see things that many high schools of our size are not able to offer our students. And there is a real force here to make sure that we can tap into what a student wants to learn so that we can point them in the right direction for when they leave school, whatever that may be. So you're going to hear from some of our students today, a few of whom are with us. We're going to do a little robotics demo. We're going to take you through our electronics and robotics course. We'll see how you pilot the robots. And we're also going to hear from B.O.E students, so even programs outside of our building that we support here at the high school and that the board supports, and see what that experience is like as well. So why talk about any of these things? Well, I think on the horizon for us is the state's changing graduation requirements. And so the state has come out with a portrait of a graduate, what they expect all graduates will be able to demonstrate. And they've also started to move the timeline on how students are going to be assessed in order to be awarded a diploma. And so we feel like we are ahead of the curve with how we are preparing our students and what we have in place to demonstrate to the state and to our community that our students are ready to be graduates. So a couple of things we're going to talk about. I'll talk about the portrait of a graduate and the graduation requirements. We'll hear from a smattering of students via video about courses that really captured their attention over their career. We'll hear from B.O.E students, and we'll do our robotics demonstration, as I said. So the portrait of a graduate, what does it look for? And there are 6 attributes that are part of the portrait of a graduate for New York State. I think they align very nicely, probably intentionally, with the IB learner profile. In fact, the logo looks almost exactly the same. And so what you have the requirements to be academically prepared, a creative innovator, critical thinker, effective communicator, global citizen, and reflective and future focused. And so I think if you've listened to any conversation around this table or in any of our schools over the past, I can only speak to the past 9 years, but almost decade, right? These are the things we've already been talking about for all of that time, and we continue to talk about them as what we want our students to be able to demonstrate. And it's not just the students who are in the IB program who are able to demonstrate that, right? Or students in science research. It's all of our students should be able to demonstrate this with that, regardless of which program or pathway that they follow, which courses they take. All of these things need to be infused in all of the things that we do here at the high school and even at the lower schools. Part of this also is moving beyond a test-based demonstration of these things. So what you're going to see over the course of the next few years is the state move away from a Regents required passing in order to receive a diploma, right? And so you're going to be seeing the state ask us to show how students demonstrate that learning. And we feel like we're poised with things like the Seal of Civic Readiness, which you have probably two of the most civic-minded students here sitting at the table. The Seal of Civic Readiness, the Seal of Biliteracy, our move to financial math and climate science that the state is looking for. All of these new things that are part of what we do, but also the things that we have been doing are really setting our students up to be able to demonstrate how they learn and what they learn, and that they have the knowledge that the state is saying is part of what a graduate should demonstrate. This looks to be over the course of the next 5 or 6 years that we'll see the state move away from the Regents-based diploma. And they are talking about a kind of a single diploma model. We don't really know what that means yet, but we feel like we are agile enough to pivot to whatever the requirements are based on where we are now. I think if the state said tomorrow you need to show how students do this, this, and this, I think we could answer that call pretty quickly. How are we doing this already? So there's a number of ways that students can demonstrate learning beyond the classroom. Jimmy talked about science research, the senior experience that's part of every senior's final year here, the MYP community project and the personal project is 10th grade. All of these are ways that students step outside of the building, step beyond the building to demonstrate their learning. If you've ever been to a science research fair, you know that is learning much beyond the building. All those folks have mentors, they've worked in labs, they're able to speak to people in the professional community about the topics that they've researched, and the personal and community project and senior experience are scaffolded events that lead up to something like that, right? The science research fair might be the pinnacle of those things, but there are ways that students can do those things along the way as well. We have several work-based and service learning experiences, and many of our students are also pursuing the CDOS diploma, the Career Development and Occupational Studies, and we have over 40 students who are part of our BOCES program. So that means every day they leave the building, they go into a work-based situation where they have hands-on learning. Vincent's going to talk a little bit about his experience at BOCES. They have hands-on learning experiences. Some of them walk away from BOCES with a certificate, and some, while they pursue a work-based opportunity after, some take that and continue to study it at the college level as well. So it does not mean you have to choose one path or the other. And as I said, we have 2 SEALs that students are pursuing, and that's just a further demonstration beyond kind of a Regents level demonstration of what students know, and that's the Seal of Biliteracy, being able to speak and discuss and really dive deeply into different languages to a course of study, and also the Seal of Civic Readiness, which is in its pilot phase this year. Jimmy talked a little bit about already. And then that was beyond the classroom, but how is this happening in the classroom, or what kinds of courses do we have that offer these opportunities? Jimmy and Allie did a nice job of talking about the IB experience and Project Lead the Way. We have 2 different Project Lead the Way pathways, one in engineering and one biomedical science. Our social studies courses support the Seal of Civic Readiness, while our world language courses support the Seal of Biliteracy. And last year we had 15 students achieve the Seal of Biliteracy in our just our 3rd year of the program. And then in the arts program, so if you've paid attention to our social media lately, just last month in the arts, we held our first ever arts portfolio day. We invited over 5 schools to the building. They sat one-on-one with our art students and evaluated their portfolio. That real-world experience of what it means to be a college-level artist was really transformative to our students. And those of you who came through actually were there the next day and got to speak to our upper-level art students, and they gave you their firsthand account of how fulfilling, how challenging those conversations were, but that it really moved their work. And then courses like financial math and IB business prepare, and you'll hear from kids in a moment about how they feel like those courses prepare for real world readiness. Just recently, the IB business students went to MetLife Stadium as the New York Jets held a sports business day. So almost 40 students got to experience firsthand what it meant to be in the sports field, the sports business field, from marketing to selling tickets to working with clients. And they found it like a really profound experience in terms of what they learned that day. So all of these things are the curricular ways that we think we're ready to meet the portrait of the graduate and have students demonstrate their learning as well. So we'll take a few minutes to hear from students. I'm going to preface this with that I have no videography skills. And so you are going to get a very rudimentary video of our students talking about courses they like. And hopefully the sound is, I don't know how the sound is on the screen, but we'll hope we can hear them well enough. Oh, I went too far, too fast. Might not do any of it.
It's working. Just if you go from here.
Yeah, can't click.
What happens if you
I'm gonna
watch on YouTube?
pull out and see if I can't do that.
It's working over here, but
Here we go.
it's in presenter mode.
Come on.
Hi, my name is Olivia and I'm in 10th grade, and one of the most interesting classes that I've taken at SHS so far has been psychology, and it has really prepared me for school and helped me maintain healthy relationships outside of school as well.
Hi, my name is Taylor Lopez. I'm in 10th grade, and one of the most interesting classes I'm taking this year is ceramics because it's really fun and the teacher's the goat.
Hello, my name is RJ. I'm in 11th grade, and one of the most interesting classes I have taken at SHS was global history because of a lot of the topics that we studied.
My name is Henry Sposito. I'm in 10th grade, and the most interesting class I've taken in Somers High School is engineering because it puts a lot of other subjects into one and really gets your brain thinking about what you could build.
Hi, my name is Shabby. I'm in 10th grade. One of the most unique and interesting classes I've taken at SHS has been earth science because a lot of the material was kind of applicable to real life.
My name is Danielle. I'm a junior here at Somers High School. I'm Jessica and I'm an 11th grader here. And my favorite class at Somers High School is forensics. We enjoy this class because it talks about real world problems.
My name is Allison.
My name is Emma.
And my name is Hannah.
We're in 10th grade.
One of the most unique or interesting classes we've taken in SHS has been Tusker 102 because it's given us a chance to learn something new that we get to choose.
We get to set a goal and then take the steps to strive towards it.
Hi, my name is Caroline DeMella and I'm a senior, and the most interesting class I've taken in my 4 years has been financial math, and it's taught us about how to pay taxes, stuff about financial security, my credit card, just like things I didn't know before about money that I feel like I needed to know before high school.
Hi, my name's Mary. I'm a senior, and the most interesting class I've taken throughout high school is definitely IB film, because I think it's a super unique class and I get to do like things most students wouldn't be able to.
Hi, my name is Julia and I'm in 12th grade. The most unique class I've taken at Somers is TOTS, and it's because we get to work with the kids and it teaches me patience.
Hi, my name is Max. I'm in 10th grade, and I think the most unique and interesting class at Somers High School is probably psychology because I think it's a very hands-on course and it teaches you like how the brain works and how you use your brain outside activities.
My name is Chris and I'm in 10th grade. I think the most useful class for me is definitely financial math because I think budgeting and banking is like a really big thing outside of school, and I believe that's the most important class outside of school.
My name is Grant Brush and I'm in 10th grade. I believe the most important class for me to take is also financial math because I am going to have to use budgeting and banking in the future.
I'm Daniel Hauser, and I think the most important class I've taken in Somers High School is intro to engineering because it'll prepare me for like when I move out and I have to build stuff on my own.
Hi, I'm Jay. One of the most important things I've learned at Somers is Probably engineering. Mr. Amato is the teacher for that, and he taught me the basics about engineering. We built a car, and he taught us everything of how to do it. He taught me like how to be an engineer, and I want to grow up to be that. So I'm grateful.
My name's Summer and I'm in 10th grade. The class that's prepared me most for life after high school is psychology because it teaches me why people do the things that they do and like figure out like mindset.
My name is Juliana Peretti, and I think the most interesting course I've taken here at SHS is biomed, because I feel like it has really opened up opportunities for me going into the medical field when I'm older, and it really just opened up doors for my love of science, and it made me inspired to take science research as a 10th grader, which I also think is another really interesting class that we have here at SHS, which can lead to many scholarship opportunities too.
There you go. All right, so now we are going to hear from Vincent. I think the easiest way is to have him come up and pull up next to the microphone. We okay with that?
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Come on up. Why don't you pull up the chair? All right, so Vincent is in our BOCES program, but I'm going to let him take over and tell us a little bit about his experience.
So I joined BOCES in my junior year. You are able to do it in junior and senior year. I take auto mechanics at BOCES. I chose it because of my love of cars. And the good thing about going to BOCES is it offers those hands-on programs that we just don't have the space for at Somers. So you'd either take the bus there, you drive there, and you could take whatever hands-on course you want. So like I'm more of a hands-on learner, so it obviously helps me out a lot. I am finding success in BOCES. I am learning a lot more new things than I previously knew, and the stuff I previously knew, I am getting a lot more practice with it. BOCES will help me in the future. I'm actually not planning to become a mechanic, but I'm planning to keep cars as a hobby. So whenever my car breaks down, I'll always know how to fix it. If I need like friends that need help with their cars, I'll always be able to help them to save money that way.
Vincent, can you talk about like what your typical day looks like, even what you do at the high school while you're there, but also then what a BOCES day looks like?
So BOCES, you have shop days and then you'll have class days. I have shop Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you'll be working in the shop. We'll have teachers' cars, staff, students will bring their own cars in, and we'll do all different work on that, brakes, tires, anything. And then class days, you take math and English there. And then when you go back to Somers, you take whatever class you take there. So like I take economics and physics currently, and I'm finding success in all that.
And did you know early on in high school that you wanted to be part of the BOCES program, or is it something you found later before junior year?
I found out like just before junior year that was even offered. I did not know much about it, but my peers who were seniors and they were juniors, they told me about it, and I found a lot of interest in it.
Is that what brought you in? Mostly your peers and hearing from them and their experience?
Yeah, it did. They mainly inspired me to join it.
Do we have a presentation, though, at some point during the year from BOCES, right?
January, BOCES comes in and presents to all 10th graders.
Okay.
Any other questions for Vincent?
So you're there like a half day at BOCES and then second half at Somers?
So BOCES starts at 8 and it'll end at 10. That's the first session, and then we have lunch until whatever class you have at Somers starts. Like typically 11:13 it'll start.
You mentioned you like the hands-on. Do you find being able to have that experience when you come back to Somers helps you be more engaged even in the other classes that are maybe more traditional in structure?
I find it to be more engaging just because I learn better that way. Obviously every student is different, but I definitely can learn better that way, actually experiencing how to work on something.
Kudos to you for knowing that. Knowing at this age how you learn and how you best need to attack something is a skill that will serve you through the rest of your life, no matter what path you choose to take. And being able to advocate for yourself and articulate this so well is a credit to the program and the education you've received.
Thank you.
And a follow-up on that is also that realization that you might not want to be an auto mechanic as a career, but just knowing that you'll have those skills that'll help make your life more quality to your life, because you'll have those skills to work on your own cars as a hobby or a passion for something that you really enjoy doing. And taking that away from your educational experience is also just a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
And you're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 to 10 in the shop?
Yep. And then Thursday and Friday, it's the same time. I'm just in the classroom instead.
You guys do breaks?
Huh?
You do breaks there?
No, shop class.
You get Board of Education discounts.
We're in all parts, right?
Yeah. So actually, BOCES will also do internships. Like currently, I'm working on getting an internship. So instead of going to BOCES during your shop days, you would go out to a real shop, and sometimes you'll get paid at these internships. Sometimes you won't. But like those students say, like they want to take a year off after high school, or they're trying to figure stuff out. Those internships can turn into jobs after school ends.
Very nice.
That's great. And you got that connection through the BOCES program itself?
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Vincent.
That's great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Braden, who's in 10th, and Michael, who's in 9th, who are in our electronics and robotics class. It's a half-year engineering elective, and they are going to demonstrate their robots and invite you to perhaps pilot them a little bit. And why don't you drive a little bit, and then maybe we'll have some questions for you all once you get started.
So these are our robots. So that's like our base bot. That's like the one we first made, and then we add the claw after for a different activity. Yeah, so solving different problems, and we just like. And to be able to make the robots work, you first got to link the controller to the actual robot, so it'll be able to drive around. Wait a second. So something's wrong.
This is real world.
That's how things really work. Things never go the way you plan them.
It's about every presentation I've ever given, right?
We've all been in there.
So to be able to make it work, you gotta press this button so it turns right. I'll put it over here.
Thank you.
So you press this to make it go up into like a right in a circle, and you go this to make it go left in a circle. And to be able to make it go straight, you gotta press it at the same time.
Good time.
And to be able to go backwards, you gotta press back at the
Mm-hmm.
There are different ways to actually move the robot, and we had to like do some experiments or like test it to see like which one would suit us best. So there would be like another way where you could just use one stick to control everything.
Everything.
So
You link it to different like controls, like.
yeah. And then we would have like robot competitions where it's robot freeze tag. So the goal
We saw that the day that we were.
Yeah,
Totally want to see robot
Yeah.
dodgeball.
The goal of the robot freeze tag is you gotta get around, or you gotta push the robot into the wall, or touch the robot's like button sensor. And once it's pressed, the robot will stop moving for 3 seconds, and then you lose a point. And the person with the most amount of points wins.
Oh.
In this class, we learn a lot more about problem solving, because we have to like figure out how to make our robot compete best against others.
Can you touch on what like the first day is like? And this is fantastic. You've built a robot. I don't really know how to do that. But how did you get from you come into this class, and I'm assuming you don't have a ton of robotic skills unless you're ringers. And how did you get to where you are now?
So in the first week of school, we actually started off not with the robots, but learning how like electronics work. And
the first project we did was we learned how like to make a circuit with like a light bulb.
Yeah.
Like a simple circuit. And we learned that knowledge, and then we were introduced to the robots, and it's like a kit, so kind of get instructions on how to build them and how to learn how to build them. Yeah.
Well, that's a skill in and of itself, is being able to follow the instructions for any electronic project or IKEA furniture.
So I see there's different wheels, and obviously, you know, you said there was a claw for an additional task. So is that kind of part of, you know, the program is to get different tasks and then problem solve around those tasks?
Yeah. So the reason there's different wheels is like, again, just how Michael and I had to figure out how to like do our movement. It's like the wheels, if you choose a different wheel, it has like different benefits. So like the wheels that are in the front of the claw robot, you see, have like they're like omnidirectional, so they could turn easier, while those are like softer.
And these wheels help getting under the opponent's robot to be able to flip the robot, so the sensor just keeps on going.
Okay.
Robot tag is pretty competitive.
Yeah.
Trivia.
What was the purpose of adding the claw?
So we have so this was from our first unit, and this is like our second task, and it's robot soccer. So the goal with the claw is to pick up a ball and then get into an opponent's goal, and we could actually control the claw through the control by pressing different buttons.
Anyone want to take a shot at driving one?
No way.
I don't know if Mario Kart prepared me
I'll
for
try.
this.
Come on,
but
we're gonna play robot. We're gonna see if we can find our robots together.
Take the claw.
Oh, the claw.
No, you take the claw.
All right.
Keep it simple.
So I gotta push.
So if you press both at the same time, it makes it go forward.
You are not lying.
Yeah.
And then I can put it back.
Yeah.
We almost had a collision. We had these for 30 seconds. This is why we can't have nice things.
This is
If you want to control the claw, these triggers can control.
He's coming for you.
Hey, that's not nice. Did you guys build the
So how
remotes
frustrated?
too?
The remotes, no, they just came with the.
So how frustrated are you watching us drive these?
Yeah, I mean, how bad are we at this? You can be honest. It's not.
You're
Ooh.
doing your best.
You guys are going to be great drivers and instructors. All right, we should probably stop.
Yeah.
I think this really is fun. I'm not going to lie.
All right.
Spin. All right, wait, I got to figure out how the claw works.
So if you press this, it makes it go up and down, and this closes it.
Oh, cool. So now.
Now go after Chad.
Oh no, I hit a button, I'm dead.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I really appreciate you sharing.
Thanks,
those.
Guys, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I don't think there's much to say after watching board members pilot robots. That might be a first for a board meeting. But I hope you got a sense of
Had a good time.
all of the opportunities that students can explore, and where those opportunities can take them, and why we think that we should continue to support these programs that maybe might be considered non-traditional or not a typical high school pathway, but they really engage students in a way that a more traditional course of study might not. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No one has any other questions for about what we just saw, right? Okay. So that brings us to our personnel consent agenda. Resolved that the Board of Education, upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, hereby approves the attached personnel agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? CSE, CPSE recommendations. Resolved that the Board of Education, having received copies of recommendations of the meetings as listed on the attached memo, hereby approves same.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay. This brings us to our policy. Should I read the resolution before we have our discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education of the Somers Central School District does hereby accept the following revised policy for a first reading and adoption. 4750, promotion and retention of students. I guess Daryl and Pat, this is,
Wait, can I,
Well,
can
so
we have a
moved.
motion first?
oh, sorry, you're right.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
So if you're gonna go into a question, the question I had on the 2 consecutive years of failing a specific subject, you would have to go to some sort of summer program. My question is that if it's seventh and 8th grade would be the 2 consecutive years, how are we pushing a student on, say, math from 7th grade to 8th grade, failing 7th grade and just pushing to 8th grade? Why are we not intervening sooner? And why we're just pushing them along at that 7th grade level up to the 8th grade level when they haven't passed that 7th grade level? So that was a question I had.
And I'm happy to speak to that. So what's nice is we already have a lot of tools in our toolkit, so to speak. So this just provides yet another option for us. So any student, I can say categorically at Somers Middle School who is struggling has an opportunity for intervention from their teacher. And we have a number of different forms of what's referred to as academic intervention services. So even a student who may be failing or struggling in, say, 7th grade has the opportunity for accessing resources from their teacher or through additional supplemental programming throughout the school day, have remediation in a subject for which they may be failing or in danger of not passing. This just then adds that bridge to Somers High School so that we're not setting them up for continued failure, let's say, God forbid, by the time they're in 9th grade, so that after, let's say, the 2nd year in which they struggle, there's a portion of the summer in which they have the opportunity to catch up on the learning and get those skills that they may not have mastered by the end of 8th grade. And so if indeed, this is successful, and we hope that it will be, as we haven't previously done this, then it may actually extend to earlier grades. But given that this is the first year in which that we're putting this forward, we think that we'll see how it goes. But you bring up a really good point.
I think for the benefit of the public who doesn't have the document in front of them, we're talking about an amendment to the policy on promotion and retention of students, and the key part of this that's being amended is paragraph 4, which says, and I'm reading from the document, at the middle school level, any student who fails more than 2 courses in a school year or fails the same subject for 2 consecutive years will be expected to attend and complete a summer academic, discipline-specific, skill-building program in order to progress to the next grade level, which is the intention is to make sure that those kids who are struggling at the 7th and 8th grade level don't move on to the high school until they've had this 30-hour summer course to make sure that they're prepared to succeed at the high school level. That's really the purpose of this.
And I think what was also important that you guys talked about was that the recommendation has to be accompanied by, in paragraph 6, it says the recommendation has to be accompanied by documented attempts at intervention and collaborative efforts with parents or guardians.
Right.
So in this case, any recommendation, it's not that this would come out of the blue, that you guys have been working towards some kind of intervention already and may or may not have worked.
Right, and that's also reflected in the current policy in the prefatory language where it says classroom teachers are expected to make every effort consistent with the district's implementation of response to intervention to identify early those students at risk of failing. So the classroom teachers already have that obligation to intervene as soon as it becomes clear to them that a student might be at risk of failing.
It should already be on the radar.
Exactly.
At 7th grade.
Yeah.
The process should be starting then.
Yeah, even before, this is kind of throughout. This is not just a specific grade until we get to this enhancement where they're talking about the recommendation for the summer program when needed.
And I mean, do you want to discuss, Adam, like the idea behind why we chose the 7th, 8th grade year moving up to the high school?
Well, those are the years in which some of the middle schoolers have potentially taking a Regents course, right? They'll take potentially algebra and or earth science in 8th grade, and also they begin taking world language, French, Italian, or Spanish. And for that, they also receive high school credit on the transcript. And so that's why, in particular, we're talking about, you know, the courses that are more associated with the high school in terms of those. And that's why it says discipline specific. So we decided to tailor it towards English, math, science, and social studies and world language, as opposed to, you know, some of the special area rotation courses, because those are more semester based. Sometimes they're pass fail. They're less intensive than your quote unquote discipline content area courses. And so that's really why the emphasis is on ensuring preparedness for the high school. So really up until now, at the end of 8th grade, kind of regardless of where the child finished, we said, okay, best of luck to you come September. Now we have this option where if we don't quite feel they're completely ready, we have this new mechanism by which to ensure preparedness by the time they get to freshman year.
And just to be clear, the policy that's been existing, I mean, we, as Daryl was saying, we intervene throughout the year. These are all things that our instructors are identifying with students, and we're getting additional interventions, additional whatever services to help. Because I mean, as it says on here, we recognize students learn at different paces in different ways and are going to have different needs. So we've been recognizing that all along. This is just an addition, and that transition is an important transition from middle school into high school, that we're adding in the option for this summer program. Right. That's what's going on with the addition on this policy.
Yeah, we, you know, from chatting with my administrative colleagues, we believe it'll be very few students for whom this would even apply, but for those kids, it may make all the difference in the world that they have the opportunity to avail themselves of additional, you know, in some cases probably one-to-one instruction. And there is an option, by the way, for the family, should they so choose, to submit an alternate plan where they could access a different format or method of providing that summer opportunity if they're not able to come in person, let's just say, to equate those same 30 hours. But either way, there's an emphasis on being prepared for high school that will hopefully now apply to, let's say, 100% of the student body, as opposed to, you know, the very small handful of kids that may not have otherwise been fully ready in the past. And then once they're starting 9th grade, they're a little behind the 8 ball, and our high school teachers and counselors and support staff, and Mr. Kavanaugh is sitting over there as well, are working to sort of help them play catch up, where now we can get that started earlier.
What was the impetus behind this addition? Is this something from what we identified, maybe a couple of experiences where we saw that would have been a need or been a benefit, or was this something where the state came and said, something like this happens, you have to do this 30-hour program?
I know Ms. Kearns and Mr. Rodriguez, they could probably speak to that better than I could, just since I've only started in July. I'm sure there was some data or some things that you had looked at previously.
Yeah, as Dr. Bronstein mentioned, it's not a tremendous amount of students who are in this position of failing more than 2 courses in a year at middle school level, or failing a course 2 consecutive years at the middle school level. However, it has happened. There are some students whom, after all of the other interventions were exhausted, still did fail those courses. So thinking about what we are setting them up for then to go into 9th grade, having not passed
Math 8 made us want to think about how can we offer that one more intervention before they enter that high school building, to allow for them to be prepared with those skills that they may have missed. It's important to note also that a student can't repeat an entire course in 30 hours over the summer, so that's why we wanted to focus on those specific skills within that disciplinary area that will best kind of provide that crash course that they need to go from Math 8 into algebra, for example, or Algebra 1A. So yeah, to answer your question, this not coming from any kind of state directive, but rather from what we've observed here and what we felt like would provide a best bridge for our students, so that they are set up for success in all of the various things that the high school students talked about tonight.
So what are our options, though, when a student has been in that position? Is retention, because this is about retention and promotion, has retention ever been an option where we said, because, I mean, as we say in our policy, that's not failure. This is just about pace of learning. Is retention an option instead of moving someone forward into the high school? Or has it been that we recognize it and we move them into high school, but then we make sure we're providing the additional services and time on the subjects needed?
It's been the latter.
The latter, okay.
Right, so that students have moved on to the high school, and that, I think, talking about the impetus for this is that you've now entered a high stakes world where every credit counts, and if you do not have the opportunity to keep moving on when you get to high school. And I think to add on to what Tara said is, if you have a student who has failed a course 2 years in a row, the foundational skills are really missing, and it's hard to play catch up when you get to high school at that point, right? Because it just keeps moving. So it is really important to make sure that you've basically got a student with a real gap in their knowledge, and to go back and fill those gaps is going to be really important, so that they then can find success, because you do have to repeat the courses when you get to high school. You have to demonstrate a certain number of years in all your subjects.
So that being said, I guess, if you're going to be trying to fill in some gaps that they had that haven't been, so like what would be different about this, I guess, 30-hour program potentially that would be different than the other interventions you've tried before, right? I mean, I guess you don't want to keep banging your head against the wall and expecting a different result, right? So
more focused.
Do we have an audience member that might want to
He's chomping at the bit.
Yes, yeah.
Go.
That works. Whichever you feel more comfortable at, Phil.
So a significant piece of this is to eliminate the conversation among students that failure in the middle school doesn't matter. If we can move past that conversation, my hope is that we never use this policy, we never enact this, and at the same time, there may be students who genuinely have a deficit that needs to be worked on. And when you're in school, you're balancing multiple classes, you're balancing multiple responsibilities. If you have 30 hours of intensive time to work on this particular skill where you have a deficit, you're going to be at have a much greater opportunity to improve that skill and be ready for the next level. What I'm hoping, though, primarily is that with this in mind, I've heard very clearly from students, from staff who've spoken to students, that they've taken the attitude that since it doesn't matter what my grade is here in middle school, I'll still move forward no matter what. We're hoping we can eliminate that conversation and help students to focus on building those skills. That's not the topic of conversation anymore. That's not a possibility. So with this now, I really need to focus on what these interventionists are trying to deliver to me to help me move forward.
What were we doing prior? They were just going along and
previously and that's another thing too, is to give this building a little bit more support, because you have people who are bending over backwards in every direction with trying to partner with home, with trying to work with students in all the different win opportunities that have been created here between administration, teachers, support staff. There's a whole network that's supporting a student. You obviously need buy-in from the student. And so that exists now, but currently you can fail and just move forward. And we do have students in that situation. Sometimes who might fail even a course in multiple years and still move forward. And as was mentioned, when you have a student arrive to you with that much deficit in skills,
problem.
It's hard to know where even to begin.
Right.
So,
And it doesn't do a service to the student.
Right.
not at
It
all.
sets them up for failure.
Not at all.
100%.
We don't want students to get used to failing.
No.
I mean, in many
Yeah.
ways, is this not just the other side of recognizing different pathways to success?
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about some programs that involve an acceleration. We've talked about some programs that involve a recognition of a specific vocational or technical skill. We've talked about students finding their passion. This is just an extension of that, and making sure that we are supporting students and also addressing the social and emotional impact of not having succeeded.
Right.
Because we talk about and celebrate a culture of success, but the counterpositive of that is that if we don't actively address students who are struggling, we are telling them that that is what they deserve. And I don't think any of us want to be doing that.
And no student wants to fail.
No, every
It's-
student comes to school to do their best.
But if you're in a situation right now where it doesn't matter if you fail or not at the end of the day, as Mr. Rodriguez said, and as what sometimes people will say here, they're going to have to learn that when they get to the high school, and then they have to repeat. And that was the thinking, is why wait till they get to the high school to learn that? Let's have them learn it sooner. Let's have them recognize that yes, I have to accept the fact that I have this challenge, this learning challenge, and I can learn to overcome it.
It's the lesson of accountability.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also forces someone to learn that, yes, this is very difficult for me, and I can still do it.
That's
if I
the
work
big
with all
thing,
these
right?
people
That's
around
the
me.
big thing
Yeah,
in the
sure
end,
was.
learning that you can overcome these types of challenges.
Yep.
While
It's up to-
importantly not having a student carry the social emotional burden of repeating all of 7th grade because
Right.
they failed one course in
course.
7th grade, right?
That's
the
usually
summer
the
program
trick,
would,
right? It's
yes.
not usually all the courses, it's usually
Correct.
one particular course.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So that being said, once we adopt this policy, potentially, I don't want to predict a vote, but then we're going to go and educate parents on the fact that this is existing and it will be implemented as of this summer? Okay. Phil is shaking yes in case anyone can't see that from home.
Would it also be possible, though, to add that should we adopt it, that some data is kept as to, I'm sure there is data on the number of students who currently fail a class in 9th grade, because you people are very data-driven, which is great. But then it would be logical to assume that if this policy works, that we would then see a drop in the number of students failing a class in 9th grade, because we're looking to actively change the culture and make every student realize that they can succeed and will succeed. So could we ask that we do, in the success plans following and the presentations of learning, that one of the things we keep in data of high school is how are 9th graders performing from year to year, not specifically, but just across the board regarding their successes in passing classes.
Or just in general, the outcome of this program
Right.
in particular, if it is used.
Yep, so this will be the policy, and then the regulation, the way in which the policy is operationalized can be us retaining the data which is dictated by the policy itself. Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
it'd be good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to make sure the policy is working, because there's a lot of passion behind it. If it's not working, despite everybody's best efforts, then we need to rethink it and retool it, because everybody here is committed to making sure the students are successful.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
Okay.
If I could maybe add something here.
Please.
I think, starting off, this is something that I think is really important, because as a student, like going from middle school to high school, and like myself going through that transition, you get a lot more independence. And when you're in high school, it's not so much of like, you're more kind of on your own. You still obviously have all that support there, but I think it's important that students are, by the time they're getting to high school, they feel as if they're ready for that, and that they have the foundations and the skills to do that, and I think that's really important. So I think with this policy, it's a step in the right direction, definitely. I did have one question about paragraph 5 in the policy. It says here, parents will be responsible for providing transportation to and from the program. As someone who I talk with friends, and oftentimes they have trouble getting to and from places, their parents are working or not available to provide transportation. So if a student, say, is in this program and they need to get to it, but they're not able to, like, what is the sort of mechanism for that? Can the program sort of be altered? Like, what's going to happen?
So I think we'd work with that individual family if there was like a particular circumstance. If you, as you saw in the policy, There is a alternative way in which the child could demonstrate the 30 hours, but that could be more, going back to what we said earlier, the regulation in the operationalization of the policy, right? Maybe there's a circumstance where we do a remote session for that particular child because for that family, they don't have a mechanism by which to transport. So we may be able to do that, but it doesn't, so it still provides them the opportunity to access it. But I think it's one of those things we'll handle on a case-by-case basis, but definitely we'll be mindful of that.
Great, thank you.
Because I remember, I think there was a discussion of the transportation piece was going to be tricky because depending on how many students and where they live, you can't just necessarily have multiple routes or one route. I think that was part of the issue, right?
Just one question. Since this is a change and many students won't know about this, how will the topic be brought up to students, and how will they be equipped to deal with the emotional impact of summer school as well?
That's a really good question.
Well, you want to go up again to the podium, Mr. Kavanaugh?
Yeah, working with Ms. Muchacharo and Ms. Mangoni, our conversation has been about, we've talked about doing a short webinar for parents just to explain it. Obviously, if it will have to be explained to students, the biggest focus initially will be with those students who are currently failing. That's where it's with those parents, with those students. Again, and I think Ms. Kearns mentioned this, we're not talking about a lot of kids, fortunately. We're just talking about a small number of kids, so that's going to be our primary focus. But yes, all students and parents will be made aware of it. And I really do look at this as something that I'm hopeful that we never use. And that, again, that we're just eliminating that part of the conversation. I'm sure you both experienced that while you were in middle school. If you remember that, at the end of the day, does it really matter? You're still going to be going forward. Like I said, I'm hoping we never use it. If we have to, it'll be specifically to build those skills, though, where it's absolutely needed. And all that communication, like I said, where the plan is, as I think that was Ms. Mangoni's suggestion, to do a brief webinar, open questions to parents, so that we can, resolve any issues and any concern.
And what happens if, say, a student in 7th grade fails 2 courses that year, so going into 8th grade they go through this schooling? What happens if they still continue to fail?
That's good. And if the student is still, then we also have to look at other things. Obviously, if that's the case, there are learning challenges that we're missing. So with any situation like that, if the student continues to fail, we just have to consider what pieces are we still missing here. And there's very few situations that when you look at especially our graduation rates, we typically eventually figure out through a lot of that sometimes is through our special education supports, where we may be missing things early on that come to light later on as far as learning challenges for a student, just supports that they may need to be able to find the success that they can.
And sorry, one last question. Students with 504s or IEPs, will their accommodations follow them throughout any program they're in?
Sure. Yep. Anything you participate in, those modifications and accommodations go along with you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I could say the emotional side of it is going to be far greater if they don't do it than do it.
Right.
For that 30 hours in the summer.
Right.
If they're moving on to 9th grade, there's going to be a lot more emotional problems.
Right.
If
right.
they're going into that not knowing anything.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a difficult thing. The summer program is far less challenging than retention. Mm-hmm. That's that's 30 hours in the summer on a specific skill is a lot less pain than and retention is not a great option anyway. It's the goal is to avoid that.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Any other questions from anyone? Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay. Sorry, I had to switch devices here, so. This brings us to our next public forum.
Well, we seem to have lost the public.
Just in case, anyone else? Bill, anything else to add? Okay. Then that brings us to board member comments.
So it's rare to talk about a loss as a success, but I was at the football game on Friday. That's not the point. But the point is that the dignity and the grace that those young men showed, as modeled by their coaches, in handling what was a very difficult loss is something to be admired. And it all comes back into a circle, right? Because that also speaks to the way that success is taught in the high school. And it goes back to the middle years program and the idea that working to solve a problem is sometimes more important than the solution itself and the implementation of the solution. And you can see that kind of successful minded, project-minded thinking already expressed by some of the players who are already back at the gym and the coaches themselves who are already talking about what next year will look like. So I think that it is incredibly difficult to take a loss and learn how to handle it with grace and dignity. And we see many examples in our world that don't show that. And those young men did show it. And I think that in and of itself deserves to be recognized, and by the staff that led them as well. It speaks to the value and power of the different pathways that are in our high school and our district in general, that in one small weekend, we are able to celebrate football achievements, cross-country achievements, and also the artistic achievements of all of the students who were involved in Almost Maine. And I would be remiss if I didn't say an incredible thank you to all of our school-related personnel who consistently make everything run around here absolutely seamlessly. We did not set this up. We did not set up all of the technology, yet all of it works perfectly. And I think that sometimes we don't always take enough time to say thank you to those who make difficult things possible.
I'll go. Jimmy and Allie, thanks for the update and the different pathways that you guys have over there. Thank you for the students who came in for B.O.E and the robotics program. That was great. Thank you for Pete and Tara for the updates. Phil, thanks for jumping in. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I know we're not going to be here next week, but happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your breaks.
I also want to say well done to the crew and cast of Almost Maine. Since we moved here 4 years ago, I think we've seen all the high school and middle school productions, and that was really one of the best productions I've seen put on by the students at the high school. It was wonderful. Congrats also to the football and cross-country teams. I'd be remiss if I didn't also say congrats to the volleyball team, the boys volleyball team, making it to the quarterfinals in the third year of that program. I think was quite a success for them. In terms of the pathways to success, I think we should all be proud of what the community has done together to make all of these different pathways possible. And I think Allie and Jimmy tonight, what they explained to us and the way they explained that and the passion they explained, the programs that they're pursuing, as well as the other students that were in the video and the B.O.E.'s, Vincent talking about the B.O.E.'s program. These are just great examples of what we can all do together when we realize and recognize the importance of serving each child's individual needs in terms of their passions, in terms of what they need to make their own lives successful, whether it's in the career path or whether it's in a hobby or a lifelong passion that they might discover, whether it's being able to read a piece of literature in a foreign language and the joy that comes from all these different types of life experiences, which are as equally as important as the career and professional kinds of skills that we impart to our kids. So I think that's wonderful. Congrats to both of you for being here and sharing your experience. And again, the school-related personnel, I think we all recognize that, taking an example from the military, right? You've got a small number of people at the pointy end of the spear, but there's a huge number of people behind them that make everything possible, whether it's the custodians or the secretaries or the admin assistants or the teaching assistants. All of those people, contribute immensely to the population. And I always remember that story of a senator inspecting and going on a tour at NASA, and he ran into the janitor, and the janitor was sweeping the floor, and he said, what do you do here? And he said, I'm helping to put a man on the moon. And each and every person who works in this district is contributing to what we're doing. It takes everyone. It takes every single person working in this school district to bring about these pathways of success for our students. So thank you to everyone who works in our district. Thank you to the parents for making it all possible through the tax-paying dollars that you send. But I just really think it's important that we recognize the contributions of each and every person to the mission that we're undertaking on behalf of our students. So thank you.
You know, we got to, we were invited, and I was fortunate to be able to go to the high school and see a bunch of these different pathways that we offer here, and hear from the students and what their experiences were, so similar to what we heard from this evening. And you know, that's something I know as a board, and I know me personally, has been really important for our district, is to make sure we have these different pathways. And I think the video that you put together, Pete, with the students, and you listen to what they were talking about, there was kind of a theme on what they were identifying as their most impactful or favorite course. And it had something to do with this connection, and there's like a connection to the real world. You know, it might all come down to physics or calculus in the end, but when we're learning, it's that connection that we make that really gets us engaged. And when you think post-school, you're going through life, we're learning all the time. And what is it that draws us to learn? And it's a connection to something. So when we can help foster that with students by having different pathways, different opportunities, different ways to learn, hands-on topics, whatever it is that they connect to, when that happens, it's you know, it's like magic. And whenever I get to come into the school and see what's going on, I always leave with goosebumps and this great energy, and I just a real positive image of what's ahead in our society. You know, turn off the news, turn off the social media, look what's happening, what our students are doing, and you're going to be really proud and hopeful for the future. So I thank everyone who's involved in that. I thank the community, I thank the administration, everyone that is involved in finding and putting together and supporting these different pathways. So I think it's really important. Thank you.
As a student at the high school, I really just want to say thank you to everyone who makes my learning experience as good as it is, and we really do appreciate all the work that goes on, even though I'm sure sometimes it doesn't seem like it. I really feel as though my time at Somers, I have found who I am as a learner and as a person, and I'm really looking forward to taking all of that with me beyond high school and into the real world.
I agree with what Ali had to say, definitely. I think the different pathways that have been offered, thanks to all of the work that everyone in the district had done throughout these years, I don't think I would be in the same place I am today without all the different pathways I've had, whether it's science research or student council, and being here on the Board of Ed, considering those as pathways. I don't think we would be, in the same place as students, as human beings, without all of the different things that have been offered to us. And I think it speaks to the, countless hours of work that have been put in by all the different stakeholders in, our schools and our district. So I want to thank everyone for that. And I think it's something that is definitely good to be continuing, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Thank you, guys. I just want to actually take a minute to point out that Allie was actually part of the production of Almost Maine this weekend as well. She helped with the lighting with the crew, so you guys did such a great job. I'm going to say that again. And I just want to add, when we went through as a board, finding our new superintendent last year in the process, we often got asked, what are you most proud of in your school district? And I would always say it's the multiple pathways that we offer for our kids, because it's true. It doesn't matter what kind of learner you are, it doesn't matter what subject areas that you accept, there's something for everybody, and you're all gonna find your niche. And it's amazing because we aren't a huge school district, that's for sure. And but kids are able to find their passion. And what I also find is that they're able to find their voice and their own autonomy in their learning, which I think is so important. So I just want to say thanks again, because I think it's a wonderful environment that we've created. So thank you. And with that, resolved that this workshop meeting of the Board of Education be adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained? Okay.